What's up, Ash? How you doing?
Hi everyone, I'm good. How are you?
We are alive and well, my girl, alive and well. No, Annie, there will be no more singing for me today. I've done too much already. So this is Tuesday tea time. I must ask you, what are you drinking today?
I am drinking mint tea, double bag. Two,
All
two of them.
right, okay, mint tea, huh?
Yep.
Is that like a specialty mint or is it just?
It's a mint medley. And it's delicious. Actually, wait for it. There we go.
Mint medley. Very good. Very good. You get a little hand clap from me. Now, you be honest with me. Do you always drink mint tea?
I love tea actually.
Really?
Sometimes it's mint. Sometimes it's jasmine. In Belize, we have this tea. We call it fever grass, but here we would call it lemongrass.
Oh.
And that is fantastic. You guys have to come visit so I can make you a cup.
Ooh, we yes, absolutely, absolutely. In fact, we're gonna get into some of that today. So I'm really excited about that conversation. Guess what I'm drinking?
What is it? What is it?
I'm drinking jelly beans.
Jelly beans! Don't
First,
drink the jelly.
yeah. First time ever. First time ever. Because of you, Ash, I decided jelly beans would be the thing to do. No, I got my gallon of water next to me here, and I'm gonna be sticking straight to the H2O today.
Nice, nice. It's hot enough for it.
It is. Ooh, girl, it is. Where are you coming in from right now?
Pasadena.
Oh, yeah. So
Yeah.
you're the next city over for us, and it is as hot as all get out over there, because it's
Yeah.
it's hot over here, and I got the AC running.
Same.
So let's talk a little bit about the stuff that you're doing, because it's some great things. Before we do you have anybody you need to shout out? Any of your peoples you want to have some love to? This is the time.
There's so many people I love and that I appreciate. Can I have a minute? No, I'm just kidding. But really,
We only got an hour, girl.
my parents, my Vallejo church family, and of course
Vallejo.
the kids. Yeah, and Read and Feed Bleeds. I love them all, and I wouldn't be where I am for everyone that I just mentioned, more or less.
Yo, that's awesome. That is awesome. So we really want to talk about you and how you started this nonprofit, which is an amazing feat for any person, but a young adult such as yourself who's already grinding and doing a bunch of other stuff, especially tipping the hat off to that. But as we get into that, I want to ask, where did this all come from? We always hear like people say, okay, well, I started this nonprofit, da, 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 but what was the inception of this?
Well, the history of it is that my grandmother, she actually founded Carmelita Village in Belize. And my grandmother is just amazing. She was self-educated, like she was known to always read books and always cooking. She wasn't judgmental. She loved the Lord with all her heart, mind, and soul. She was just phenomenal. And so I feel like that's where I come from. Just like my family was really blessed with abundance. So it started to come when, I just talk about it all the time. A big turning point as far as doing things officially, like establishing an organization, actually came from one time. It was myself. Many of you may know Pastor Lauren and Pastor Derek Cruz.
Lauren
And I
Lim,
was telling them,
Pastor Derek Cruz. No, that guy's
yeah,
not good for anything. That guy's not good for anything.
we were all out with some young adults from Vallejo Drive, and we were talking, and I was just talking about Belize and just how wonderful the people are and the kids, and also like some of the needs. And they were like, you should share this, like share it with our church family, share it with Pastor Kyle. And I would say just being around people who encourage you to push more and just to do things in a legal way. So that was kind of the turning point, talking to people and saying, hey, like, don't be timid in what God has placed in your heart.
Man, it's dangerous when you get young
Yeah.
adults like that together. We can't do that. When you get too many young people on fire for the Lord, things be happening, girl.
It does. It does. It's like, oh, that's a good idea. I never thought of that. Do you think it could happen? And Lauren, she will say this. it's gonna happen. And then she'll take
Lauren, shout out to Pastor Lauren Lim.
woohoo. Yeah. So
Yo, that's fantastic. That is fantastic. Wow. So this is kind of like a, yeah, relatively speaking, it's a newer venture actually for you then.
absolutely. Well, when I would go to Belize, like in the past, my cousin and I have a cousin. Her name is Steffi. Well, her name is
Steffi.
Stephanie, but we call her Steffi. And we would do like fitness activities for the kids.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, we've been doing that for years. I'd take like my iPod and those little, you guys remember those like old school boxes? They could fit in your bag and they get really loud. And we'd be in the field and we'd just do activities with the kids. So now it was just, okay, they're very handy, right?
Yeah,
they're very they're very handy. And I still have an iPod. Don't judge me. I'm not getting rid of that iPod.
Here, but it's all good. To each their own. To each their own. Now,
Yes.
Stephanie is your cousin's full name.
Yes.
Ash, what is your full name?
My name is Ashni. Kind of like,
Ashni.
thank you. You said it correctly. Kind of like Oshkosh. My parents were very creative. I love them. God bless them. But people butcher it. And then my middle name, get my middle name, Priscilla. I was like, you guys want me to go around by Priscilla, my middle name? But I love them. So yeah, so I just go by Ash. Call me Ash.
Yeah. I saw that you put that everywhere, Ash, and I was like, we need to let Ash's full name come out in Belize air. Ashni needs to come out and find her place in this earth.
Thank you. And thank you for pronouncing it correctly. I know some of you like jokes, so I have to throw one in there. Part of it could be when I was a child, like it's spelled Ashinee.
Uh-huh.
So people would say ashy knee, and I would be like, my knees are not ashy, okay?
I'm gonna bring you some baby lotion next time I see you, girl. I'll be like, you know, this is for this for them ashy knees. That's bad. That's a bad joke. How often do you hear that joke?
Frequent. That was like, you know, it was a joke in elementary school, but it's fine. It's fine. It's
Oh,
like,
that's too
Yeah.
good. That's too good. So, where did you grow up?
you know, that's a loaded question for me because it's like, okay, I was born in Loma Linda. We stayed in California for a while. And for those of you who don't know, my dad is from Belize and my mom is from the States. So we also lived in St. Louis, Missouri, because that's where my mother was born. And then we also lived in Carmelita Village in Belize for a while because that's where my dad is from. So I spent time in all three of those places growing up. Yeah. So I got to see a lot of people, a lot of different culture. In Californian culture, you know, even though we're here in the States, we're like very different from the Midwest, you know?
Yeah.
So that's been a big thing, but I wouldn't change it for the world.
Wow. So there's obviously definite familial tie and connection to Belize.
Absolutely.
Can you share why was this project that you started so important to you?
Oh, that's a loaded question. I would say because spending time in the village and with the people, like I just love them. Like they're a true blessing to me in many ways. And then just hearing stories and seeing how incredible people are. So when we did like the backpack project, like, you know, you'd meet these kids and just learning like maybe they have like maybe certain things that we might take for granted here. Could be a big, yeah, exactly. And we all know, I just feel like education could literally change the trajectory of your life. So sometimes if there's a disparity in supplies or a marginalized community, like, but there's so much potential and so much knowledge and they're just amazing. So for me, it was more so about like, this is where I'm from. This is part of who I am. Like, I know it's a miracle by God's grace that I'm where I am. And I know it's because of him, but a lot of people poured into me. So I was thinking, young adults, everybody, like we need to pour back into people who are younger to us to help them succeed.
Wow. No words more true than that. We need to learn how to pour in back into people, pour into each other, pour into lives, so that that helps prevent us to become self-centered when we're able to do that. That self-centeredness is really just so subtly dangerous, because oftentimes it can look like, well, it's self-preservation, but really it's just you being all about yourself. So pouring into each other, such a great lesson. So what do you do right now? What does Ash do on a daily basis? What is your life? What are your profession? What are you doing?
Ash, I daydream about all the great things we're going to do for Read and Feed Belize. And aside from that,
Nice.
aside from that, I am a therapist trainee. So I actually, many of you may know, I just graduated from Pepperdine University.
Woo,
And
Pepperdine!
God is
girl.
good. That's a miracle in itself. So I work with like families, teenagers, children, and I'm, God willing, getting on my hours, and I'll be a licensed marriage and family therapist.
Wow, that's going to be awesome. We need more marriage and family therapists in the world around us today. That is beautiful.
Yeah.
What is your favorite part of what you're doing right now?
Honestly, my favorite part is something that used to be my least favorite thing to do in life.
Wow.
I think that comes along with like just experience and maturity, but it's really to listen and really hear the stories of people. When I was younger, I would say I was one of those people. I think it was pretty selfish. Like I was a very like this way. Like for example, I have like a planner. So I'm one of those people.
Take us in.
Like this is how terrible I was, right? Like I write things and then I have to scratch it. So I used to be a person like, if it's not on my to-do list, then how do I make time for that? Like it was really not a healthy way to live. So I think at one point I was very achievement based. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard this, but it's like, what if Jesus made your to-do list? Like, how would it change? So as far as therapy goes, like, I really just love being present and listening to people. Like, it's become something that I really enjoy to do. And there's healing in that. Like, sometimes, for example, like, let's take Job in the Bible, right?
Yeah, let's go there.
Let's go there, right? His friends, they came along, and when they were just sitting there and listening to him, I think that was healing. I'm sure it's very therapeutic. I think it's when, we start to over talk, which they kind of teach you in therapy not to do as a therapist.
Right.
Give your clients the room to kind of lead, and you're there to support them. You're there for guidance. So even biblically, like, I think there's a lot of good stuff we can learn, but I didn't used to be that person that would take time for people. And I love that now.
Pastors need to hear that, girl. I'm going to have you come in and do like a conference leadership, like training on, hey, listen, sometimes you just need to listen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We start self-examining and telling people what they need. And the truth is, we just need to be present. We don't have to have all the answers. Like that's part of what God is doing in the world around us. He needs us to be those who are listening and are present with human beings. I love that.
Amen.
Listening without your own agenda. Annie, preach it, girl. Yes.
Yes, Annie.
Annie's smart. She's smart. She gets that from me. But no.
Annie's like, if I was on there, yeah.
She's like, let me get back on this thing right here. Chugs, good to have you on here, man. Good to see you. We need to get Chugs on here too. He's pretty amazing. I want some of those tacos. He does great things. Back to us, Ash. Back to us. All right.
Okay.
So this is what you're doing in your everyday life, in your everyday processing of your professional world. Then you've got this amazing ministry that we're going to talk more about in how to work out a nonprofit if you're interested in that kind of stuff. But let me ask you, as a young adult, you are a young female professional, well put together. What are your challenges as a young adult living in this world that we live in today with all of its distractions and everything vying for your time? Everything vies for our time, right? So for you, Ash-Ani, what is it that you find most challenging as you're moving in your day-to-day here?
Like you said, I would say not being distracted. Like there's so much distractions, and we have access to so much stuff. Like I just dropped my phone, but if I grabbed my phone, I could. Like there's so much, we just have so much stuff, like literally at our fingertips. And the crazy thing is it's not even all true. So it's like we're taking in so much information. So for me, I would say that's a big challenge. So I literally try to, I really don't have time to get distracted, but when those moments do come up, it's usually like, okay, I don't need my phone. It's not even real. But that's a big thing, I think, is having so much access to media. Friends, we're all friends on Facebook, this, that, and the other. And again, it goes back to being present. So if I see someone, if I'm walking down the sidewalk and I'm like this, and there's, maybe a lady wants to talk, or maybe somebody needs my help. If I'm not even present in that moment, I can miss out. So
true. So true.
Yeah.
Do you have a trick that you use or a hack that you do to help you stay present? Are there things, maybe as a therapist or just as a person, that you say this is something you practice doing to help you stay present in moments?
I tried to put my phone down. Like for me, guys, it really is my phone. Like it's a distraction. It's so bad. I don't know if I should tell this joke. It's not really a joke, but like
say it. It's all right.
Okay, my phone, my mom and I will joke. I'll be like, it's my kid. Like where I go, my phone goes. Like I'm protective of the thing.
Right.
So one day I put my phone on top of the car and I drove off with it there. And it was so devastating to me. And I'm like, it's just a phone. So I think, like being mindful, like literally say, I'm going to intentionally put my phone down. You could write, you could talk to somebody you love, something that's actually breathing. Maybe you're into gardening. I don't know. But I think we could be very easily distracted by devices, or at least I can be sometimes.
I think you're speaking for the majority of us. So this has been a tough week for myself, as you know, but we had a passing. My grandmother passed this week, and it's a huge loss for us. She's a matriarch in our family, and we gather around her. There's between grandchildren and great-grandchildren, there's like 300 plus of us, right? And losing her was a huge like pain. So when we have our family worships, we've been having them every night. And then last night, one of the things that we talked about was the importance of being present with each other, because you never know how long you have with anyone. You're not guaranteed any certain amount of time with any one particular human being or peoples, and how important it is for us as the adults in the room, as well as being intentional to make sure our kids are not on devices, because they can be on that thing like forever. Like they don't need to take a break. If you don't literally take it away from them, they're sucked into that space and they miss out on all these kinds of opportunities. So what you're saying just resounds with me so much. It's so true. Rings a bell.
Yeah, and thanks for sharing that. Again, I'm really sorry about your grandma, but I know she's fantastic. Like I didn't know you guys had that huge. Your family's big, which is beautiful.
Massive. It's massive, yeah. We make up half of the population of Tonga. No,
you're like, there we go. Yeah, and to go back on what you said, like even with the kids and electronics, like I'm like, now they do schooling, they do friend dates. You're right. It's like we have to be intentional about it, not just like, oh, we don't need to do that. Like, let's say, okay, from 5 to 6, we're just going to spend time together.
Right.
No devices, you know.
No devices. Put it down. Put it
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
And we adults have to do it too, because it's so easy to get sucked up in there. You know, you're like, oh snap, I didn't know that. Oh, okay. 9 hours
It's
later,
true.
why am I on TikTok? This is useless to me.
Yeah, why do I play Tetris? I have a Tetris app, and I was like, this is wasting my time. I should put this down. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
You know what this is? I brought you on here to get a free hour's worth of therapy, actually. I just realized this. So,
How are you feeling?
You know, I'm feeling better. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Good, good. Checking
Yeah,
in.
we're going to work through this. So here we go. This is our 3-2-1 section. I'm with Ashley Reynolds. We're talking about faith, courage, setting the story of a nonprofit. We're going to get to our 3-2-1 hacks right now. Ash, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you for 3 areas by which you're going to give me 3 tips, 2 tips, and 1 tips. And these are practical tips that anybody could do to like help them move forward in any particular portion of their life that you choose. All right. So what's our first area with 3 tips?
Let's do relationships.
Ooh! Let's go there. Let's go. 3 tips on relationships.
Again, I think I've been saying these things a lot, but I have tip about listening effectively, like to pay attention and be present.
Ooh.
I think that would help so much because, you know, sometimes we come to conversations knowing what we're going to say, not even hearing what the other person is saying. So I think that's a big one.
What do we do with that's a really good one. So let me ask a question. What do we do with the prescribed answer we already have in our head because we've anticipated a conversation? How do we deal with that, Ash?
I would say take a deep breath. And again, we have to be so intentional because a lot of us do have habits. And listen, or we could be empathetic, right? We could pretend and put ourselves in the other person's shoes. And if you're in a disagreement, I think the first thing to do is always figure out ownership of what we did wrong because nobody's perfect. There's probably something that we could probably come to the table with and say, okay, this is my part. And even though I have this in my head, like focus on how I could be better and be empathetic to have understanding of where the other person's coming from.
Woo.
And to do that, we really have to listen. Yeah.
Oh, I like that. That's good. All right, give me two more tips in the relationship arena.
Okay, I think in relationship to our community, figure out what it is that you love that doesn't feel like work or that doesn't feel like dread and give back. So, for example, I know Christina was on here and she like cooks. So I feel like that was her way of sharing. You know, if you like to read, maybe, I don't know, find a child who needs help tutoring. If you like to go grocery shopping, find an elderly who needs help and help them out, offer to go get their groceries. And I think those are ways that could kind of take attention off of ourselves. And plus, again, we're pouring back into people that are right around us.
Yeah. Ooh, so good. Give us one more.
Okay, in our relationship with God, you know what I'm finding? I see a lot of clients who are Christian, and for some reason, sometimes I feel that people have a sense of guilt almost if they're angry. And I think sometimes we have to go a step deeper. Like, what's underneath the anger? Is it pain, frustration? Are you sad? So my tip for our relationship with God is to just be really real with him because he already knows.
Yeah.
True.
There's something scary about that and something that's like really releasing about the fact that someone knows you.
Yeah. Like knows us better than we know ourselves.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's so true. And yet, as God looks at us with those loving eyes, something about that pierces the spirit.
Yeah.
something really pierces us. That's good. That's good.
Yeah. I
Oh,
love that. Yeah, pierces us. Yeah, he's so good to us. Like, and the cool thing is, I feel, if we are open and honest, like that's he's one person that we know is like faithful, no
right.
matter what. Like, we could be just a hot mess
A
or
hot
whatever
mess,
you want
girl.
to say, and
This week
he's
we were all
still
kinds of hot
there.
messes around my house, man.
And I'm sure you guys still felt the presence of him. So it's a
Absolutely.
beautiful thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's powerful. That's powerful. All right. What else do you got for us on the tips, Ash?
I thought that was three. Where else should we go? Should
Oh,
we do?
I was going to try to pull some more tips out of you for free.
Oh, okay. Another tip. Let's see.
Give us one more.
I would say self-care is important.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Especially like during this time, things are kind of transitioning. Like,
Yeah.
some of us can run 1,000 miles and some of us run no miles. So, but being intentional too to take care of yourself, because for all of you who pour into others, if you're not feeling too healthy, how can you do that? So, I don't think there's anything wrong with some self-care.
Man, that's true. That is so true. I think it was
Yeah.
before we actually started when we were talking about how we can get about with life, and I was just sharing about how like sometimes I get really like super busy because I don't know how to downshift.
Mm-hmm.
And you were like talking about the importance of at least shifting gears. You don't have to drop all the way down to low gear, but taking it one shift at a time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if any of you drive a manual, but my car is. So if you go from 5 to 3, it's not even gonna work. So sometimes it's just like gradual, like kind of
Right.
cruise. Maybe you have to go in neutral, reconnect, slow down.
Let it cruise for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Wow. Okay. Well, man, that's great. I'm glad we got through these 3, 2, 1s. I hope these tips were good for you all. This came straight from the mouth of the professional in training who is doing
Woohoo!
professional things already. In fact, you're in your office right now, right? That's what you said?
I am. So fun stuff. So if you just heard the copier, that wasn't a glitch. There's a copier. Sorry.
So I want to ask, how does one start a nonprofit?
Okay, that is a loaded question, but it can be simplified. First, I think you have to figure out, and let's keep it simple, not like go online and look at all these templates and be like, oh, I need bylaws and my mission and vision and all of this stuff. Just think simple, like the who, the how, and the what. I think that's a very simple way to start. Kind of identify like who you want to help, like
Right.
who's going to be the population that you serve, and then why. Because I think the why, I think that's what will give you perseverance. Like if it's something like your ministry, love young adults, like I'm sure a big part of it that keeps you going is that you have a genuine care and belief in the young adult community.
I actually hate them, but that's besides
No,
the
you
point.
don't. You don't mean that.
They get on my nerves. But let's keep moving. This is about you, Ash, not me. No, I'm playing.
Yeah, and then also talking about it, like I think I'll speak, like you said, from my perspective. I used to be a person like to think I could do everything, and you can't. And that's the beauty of God giving us the gift of relationship. So even when you're in those beginning stages of forming and you talk to other people, because you want, for me, like I envision it like whatever you want to do, think so big that once it goes, the hand of God was in it. Like you can't think like this small. And I think a lot of that comes from just relationships, like talking to other people and saying, oh, like, what do you think? Is this your passion? What else could we add into this? And write it down. So the who, the what, and the how. I think those are very important things.
Are there particular questions that someone should ask or that you asked yourself to help you discern whether this is just a ministry that you love to moving it from that category into the category of this is a nonprofit that needs to continue forward, right? It's like moving from the friend zone to the dating zone. Like, when do you know this is more than just a friendship? Like, this needs to be at a deeper level.
I think like prayer, and then opportunity, and then response. So kind of when you share it with others, like, what are their responses? And then, like, with the people that you're serving, like, what are their responses? Is it helpful? And again, thinking bigger. So, like, I think you'll get to a point where, God willing, he'll place things in your heart where, like, oh, that was successful. Like Vallejo did backpacks. Like, oh, that was successful. What can we do next? Like, God, like, saying, oh, okay, Lord, give me insight, give me wisdom, give me vision, right? Mm-hmm. What can we do next? So I think if you see certain things happening, and the beautiful thing too, you know what'll happen? People will come to you sometimes, and they'll want to help. Or I know some people are like, oh, I got confirmation. Some people are into that, but some people are just, I think naturally when you're doing what God has placed in your heart to do, like, it's almost like there's no other option. And you're going to fall, and you're going to get back up. Things happen, so don't be discouraged. But I think that was the turning point. It's just like, okay, this was successful. This wasn't successful, but we got to keep pushing. There's like a love there,
True. Okay. Wow. Good. This is some good stuff to hear and to listen to. And as you're watching along, if you happen to have a question about it, feel free to drop it in, and we're going to ask Ash. Ash, what is the name of the nonprofit that you started? You are the founder and the president.
Yes, it is called Read and Feed Belize. So it's self-explanatory. That's the plan, kind of. Again, it's inspired from my grandmother. Like, she was always reading, and she was always feeding people, which is awesome. I'm not a chef by far, but
hey, we all have our strengths. It's all good.
Yeah. And just to add on to that, like, I think both of those things are so important because, again, like I said, I think education can change the trajectory of our lives. We can give back. We can write and tell stories of unsung heroes. There's so much. And then the nutrition part is super important because that helps us function properly. So.
Very cool. I want to do something with you right now. What I'm going to do is I queued up a video from one of your Read and Feed Belize projects, and it's titled Together, Read and Feed Belize, Philippians 2:4. Now, set us up a little bit for this video. Where did it take place? Is this what the nonprofit is all about? Share that, and then I'll show the video, and then you can kind of walk us through what's happening.
Okay, sure. So Philippians 2:4 is, let us not look unto our own interest, but unto the interest of each other. So that really inspired the verse because everything that happened wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for people looking out for each other. There was a specific person from Vallejo Drive that donated these backpacks. And then there were plenty of members who donated the supplies that went into the backpacks. And then in this video, and then you're going to see, let me backtrack a little bit. So the person who donated the backpacks told me the main thing is that we share the word, period. Share the word, period. That's like the most important thing. So in there, you'll see, like, I have my Bible, like, And that's another thing. If you just walk out on faith, God, he'll help you out. Even when you don't know what's happening or what makes sense, he'll help you out. So you're going to see.
Lord has 1,000 plans we have yet to discover.
Preach on, preach on. I believe that wholeheartedly. And so that's what's pretty much in the video. It's things that just kind of evolved from people looking out for people. And so I'll explain it as you play it more.
All right. So we're about to get into this, and you're going to go ahead and tell us like the location and whatnot, what have you.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
And this is not professional. I did that with my iPhone just to let you guys know.
Say God is love. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
So that's at a government school.
Okay.
This is at Solomon SDA, and that's in Orange Walk. That's actually in a town.
Nice.
Which is by the village that Read and Feed Belize operates now.
Excellent. So they're okay with you being on school grounds?
Yes. And talking about Jesus?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, I just love them so much. Aren't they beautiful? So this is us talking about the fruit of the Spirit. This is actually at my dad's farm. That's Pastor Gamboa. He is fantastic with kids, him and Mrs. Gamboa.
Wow.
This is some outreach. A lot of the women in the village cooked up food and we served it.
Is this still on your farm, your father's farm?
That is on my dad's farm, Integrated Agroforest of Belize. My dad, I couldn't have done any of this without him also. This was a fun day. I thought I was going to speak to 100 kids, but there were 1,100 kids.
Woo, 1,100.
Yeah, so that was funny. And again, we're talking about the love of Christ.
And where is that?
That is in Orange Walk. That's in town. So that's a little bit outside. Well, not a little bit, but that's outside the village where Read and Feed Belize is serving.
1,100. Wow.
So that's again at my dad's farm. That's in Carmelita. And those were the backpacks that were sent from here. We gave free haircuts to the kids, which was awesome. We prayed together, which was awesome. And the cool thing, the bus, so we had to bus the kids to my dad's farm. So it was also talking to the bus driver and being like, could you help us out? So it really did bring the community together too, which is cool.
That is fresh. Yeah, I'm going to pull back up from that. And so that's what was going on in one of your projects. Now, when we think about Read and Feed Belize, is there a geographical location down in Belize that you do your headquarters from?
Yes, so that's in Carmelita Village, and that's where, the main spot that we do everything. However, with the outreach stuff, we do try to invite other kids, but again, that's mainly from Carmelita Village. And the nearest town is Orange Walk. So in some of the videos where you saw the schools, that's in town, Orange Walk, and then there's a government school in Carmelita. Yeah.
And where's your dad's farm located?
So it's also in Carmelita, but it's it's 3 to 5 miles. It's down the road, dirt roads. You guys have to come visit, but it's going to be great. It's so much nature and it's beautiful.
And you were working on a service project that was connected to taking individuals down there to do the work, right?
Yes. So eventually, when we're thinking really big, let's think big people of all the great changes that we could do together.
We could do it.
Right? It's going to happen. Yeah. Yeah. But eventually, the goal would be to have cabins and something almost like a multifunctional building where we could have a kitchen for the kids. And then where we would go out, we'd lead out VBSs and people from here can interact with, people from Belize. And we'd just be worshiping together. We'd be pouring into each other. I think it could definitely be a mutual relationship. And also another thing that we're doing now is working on a reading program. So how that works is some of the kids in the program are being matched with people who don't mind giving 30 minutes a week of just reading to the kids. Now, all of them don't have Wi-Fi, so they are going to get to a specific place. And my aunt's going to help out. But just giving back through time and reading to kids. So those are some cool things that are happening.
Awesome.
And in my head, on my dad's farm, like we could have a computer lab. And so even like after we go visit, we could still have relationship when we come back home because we could Zoom, right? That's what's beautiful about this. That's one blessing of COVID. Like we could literally be with people.
We can stay connected.
Yeah.
Now, do you have a website that people could visit or check out if they want to get connected to you?
Okay, I have an email. It's readandfeedbelize@gmail.com. And the website is in progress. So as we get that finished, I will get it to you. And if you could share it, that would be fantastic. So another thing for those of you who have an interest in starting an NGO or a nonprofit, don't wait until everything's perfect. I think because I'm that person and I think it'll just all work out. So, yeah.
That's important to say, though, because sometimes we can really drag our feet waiting for everything to be perfect. And we're not saying go in there hodgepodge, half put together. But if you've got enough worked out where you can push forward, it's better to start walking down that trail. It's just, otherwise perfection is not attainable. So incrementalize yourself where you can say, okay, at this point, we've got enough. We know what we're going to do. We're going to push forward and have that strategic plan to go forward.
Absolutely.
And you'll work out the website when you do.
And I'll let you guys know. Visit it once it's in existence. But it's going to be great.
Now, what's that email again? I was going to put it up on the screen, but my keyboard's not working, so I'm not going to do it.
Oh, no, it's okay. It's read, READ, and A-N-D, feed, FEED, Belize, BELIZE, @gmail.com.
At Gmail?
So, gmail.com. Please reach out.
Get on there, my friend.
Yeah.
Reach out. Ashel will connect with you. You guys can work through some stuff. And I wanted to bring you on and highlight you, Ash, because we need more young adults who are not just efficient or proficient at their profession, but who are also passionate about kingdom living, about doing things for God, man. So I wanted to bring you on here because I think you're a great example of what more of our young adults could be doing. Like, you can be doing great at your workspace. And you can have a professional life. And yes, all the while, you can still have a deep passion for Christ and do things that are amazing in the world. Ash lives here in Southern California. She's one of our members here at the SCC. And proud of the stuff you're doing, my girl. I know it ain't easy. How do you balance out your stuff? Because you got all this stuff going on. How do you balance it out?
Well, you have to consult with Jesus. That's what I say. You have to talk literally, because sometimes I feel like, okay, Lord, what are we going to do next? What's next? Because there's not enough time in the day. Sometimes that's how I feel. Like there's not enough time in the day. Yeah. And sometimes for me, it's also about thinking about what's most important, which could be scary because sometimes things we want aren't what's most important.
Say that.
Yeah. So, for example, maybe, I don't know, you want to go do something, but at the same time, you have work within the ministry to do, or it's about focusing on what's most important. Like a good friend of mine, we would talk about, like, what lens are you wearing? Are you wearing the lens of what's most important in the world or what's most important to our Heavenly Father? And that's kind of countercultural sometimes.
Yeah,
to do what's biblically right. Just getting comfortable in what may feel uncomfortable at first, and then it's just like that's who we are. Like that's what we do, you know.
Man, that's a good word, my sister. Yeah, and it's easy for us to get caught up in that, even with things that are seemingly good things. Good things can get in our way with our relationship with God if we allow it to. You know, sometimes because of the love for the gift giver gives us, we end up cherishing the gift more than we do the gift giver, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. And like
Jenny,
you said,
thank you
he's
for
the
being
one
on
who
here
gives
in
it.
Chugs. Yes, amen to that. Amen, amen, my bro. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead. Ash.
Oh no,
You were in the middle of thought.
It's okay. I was just seconding what you said and just coming back to like, yeah, he blessed us with the gift, so why not use it for him? And like, you know, and if we had nothing, like he'd still love us. And I think for some people that could be hard to hear because we're so used to like, I have to do this, I have to do that, you know, and he just loves us for us. So it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, we're very achievement oriented. We live in a very achievement oriented kind of world, and so having a title or some initials behind your name, having a good job, having a nice car, and if you're looking enough on social media, you'll see enough people having a good time, and it's like, yo, I want that. I want to have a good time too. When in reality, none of us are having a good time. We're just posing. We're posing in these positions that make us look like we're having a good time. And then we're back to being angry with our lives. And we're just lying to each other. So we're perpetuating this lie about how things could be when in reality, none of us have it like that.
Yeah. So we have to be present. I'm pushing for that. Let's be present. Put down the phone sometimes. Yeah. I totally agree, though.
Yeah, you're convicting me, sister, because I hate being on the phone. Like, it's not my thing. I can't. I don't want to be on the phone, But you're right. Reaching out, contacting people, and hearing their voice and letting them hear your voice. Oh, so important. Wow. Okay,
and
so
sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you first.
Please.
No. After you, please.
I was just going to say, and it could even be 30 seconds, I think. Like, sometimes my dad will call me in the morning, like, have a good day, I love you. Like, I love you. And it's like, I feel good. It's going to be a good day today. It doesn't need to be 30 minutes,
You're speaking my language now. I'm about to make some 30-second phone calls. People are going to be all kinds of mad. And I'm going to be like, listen, go to feedandreadbelize@gmail.com and give her your 2 cents.
Well, I mean, no, I'm not saying only that, but it's better than nothing, right? You got to start somewhere.
You're right. Like, we pressure ourselves to think about the conversation we might have to have with someone, and that keeps us from making a call. When in actuality, we can just call and make a quick touch base and be on with our lives. And it makes sense. Well, good. Thank you, Ash. I'm not going to do it, but I only encourage all of you out there to do it. I'm not good at phone calls, man. My ear gets all sweaty, and I don't listen well. I'm just making excuses for my whole life. After this, I'm gonna call 5 people. I'm committed. It might be Annie, Chugs, and Jenny. I might call you all and call you Ash.
We have to look in on each other, huh?
Yeah,
it'll be good. Yeah,
it's so true. I did have a question for you, but then we got joking, and now I forgot what that question was gonna be. So this is what we're gonna do. Oh. It is 4:53. We burned our whole time together. So I do want to ask a question to you that I ask all of my guests at the end of our time together, and it's basically this: what words of encouragement would you have for someone out there who's going to catch this, who's catching it now, or who may catch it in a little bit? How can you inspire them or encourage them to live their best life today? Ash, would you do that for us?
I will, to the best of my ability. I would say embrace who you are. Definitely, like, embrace who you are. Don't try to hide who you are or be ashamed of who you are. And just include God in everything. You can't go wrong with that. Even when you don't understand, even when people reject you, like, try to stand firm in knowing that your Father loves you no matter what. And I hope that's really encouraging to all of you. Thanks so much for inviting me.
Wow, that was really good. Thank you. Thank you so much. I hope that reminder comes and rings true in your life. Be who you are. God absolutely loves you. He loves you through it all, at your best and at your worst. No one knows you better than the one who created you. Thank you, Ash. And God
Thank
bless
you.
on the great ministry that you are going for, this NGO that you started. If any of you have any questions that you might want to ask, you can drop them in the comments, whether it's now or it's later, and we'll make sure we'll push it back to Ash so that Ash can actually catch up with you, and or you can straight email her at is it Read and Feed Belize?
Yep, it sure is.
Read and Feed Belize at gmail.com. She just got this new adventure kicked off. It's only a few weeks. How old is the nonprofit, by the way?
Here in the States, like about 3 years. In Belize, so that's a whole nother story, but I established it in Belize first. It's been a year. So God is good. Yeah.
Dude, that's amazing and exciting. You're like on the precipice of doing some fantastic things, girl.
Yeah. So reach out. I'd be happy to answer questions. That'll be a good time.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. My peoples, we've come to the end of our time together, and I've really thoroughly enjoyed being with you, Ash. Thank you. I've been trying to book you for a while. I'm really glad that you were able to clear up some space. I know that your schedule is really tight, but you were able to make it happen for me. Thank you so much. And for all of you guys out there, next week I'm going to be hanging out with Jillian Lutz. Elder Pastor Lutz will be with us talking about her journey and her story as she came into ministry and how she's doing in ministry. You're not going to miss out. And remember, this is our last month at the end of June. We're going to take a summer break. We're going to try to revamp, talk about what we want to do moving forward later on this year. So hang with us for the next couple weeks, and then we're all going to be on break. Until then, thank you again, Ash. For the rest of you all, stay safe. May the Lord bless you, and I'll see you next week.
Yay. Thank you.